biggest forces shaping us, shaping civilization, aren't the things we usually think of. Not tech, not politics. What if it's something, well, more personal, more fundamental? Like imagine the soil beneath our feet and the wings that let us fly. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really going to unpack something quite profound. The role of joy and happiness in, believe it or not, the ascent of civilization.
It's a striking metaphor, isn't it? Our sources use exactly that. Happiness is this sort of rich soil and joy giving us wings. And
right.
These aren't just, fleeting feelings. They're called lifelines to human flourishing and civilization's ascent. Really makes you think differently.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to explore that. We'll look at the science, the philosophy, even some spiritual perspectives. We want to see how these emotions, happiness and joy, are maybe foundational to, well, everything, our well-being, our progress as a people. Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. If these are so fundamental, what does the science actually say? Are we, wired for this stuff?
The sources suggest we absolutely are. Apparently, children are born with a natural inclination toward happiness and joy. Yeah, they're described as being emotionally elastic and spiritually receptive. Almost like a default setting, if you will.
Emotionally elastic. I like that. So like a built-in bounce-back ability.
Exactly. And this receptiveness to meaning, to connection, it's like an innate blueprint.
Okay, so if we start out with this blueprint, how do our early experiences shape that? Do they nurture it, or can they hinder it?
Oh, they play a huge role. The neuroscience seems really clear here. Consistent love, kindness, especially early on. It's not just about feeling safe. It actively helps form pathways for empathy, creativity, and resilience. It's literally wiring the brain for those positive traits.
Wow. So it's like paving the roads in the brain.
You could say that, yeah. Making it easier for those qualities to sort of flow. And the sources put it really strongly. They say, constancy and consistency and kindness aren't luxuries. They're emotional nutrients.
Emotional nutrients.
Right. Where they flow, the seeds of joy take root. Where they are withheld, civilizations risk spiritual famine.
Spiritual famine. That's a powerful phrase. What does that even mean in this context? A society starved of what? Hope? Purpose.
I think it implies exactly that. A lack of connection, a lack of deeper meaning, maybe a widespread sort of listlessness or despair. It suggests the stakes are incredibly high.
So this isn't just about raising happy kids for their own sake, is it? It sounds like it's about the actual health of society itself.
Precisely. It's framing early emotional development as a cornerstone of, well, a thriving civilization. Not just individual well-being, but collective flourishing.
Okay, that's a foundation in childhood.
Yeah.
But how does this translate as we grow up, as we form societies? Do we actually, build these ideas into our rules, our structures? Is happiness a right?
In many ways, yes. The sources point out that happiness is enshrined in civic documents. Think about, the pursuit of happiness. That right to pursue it is seen as a pillar of liberty in some key texts.
Right, the pursuit of happiness. But you don't usually see joy mentioned in constitutions or declarations, do you? How's that treated?
That's a really interesting point, and the sources make a distinction. They say joyfulness, though unnamed, is implied.
Implied how?
Implied in every right that protects emotional well-being, play, and community. So laws protecting assembly or recreation or just general welfare, they create this space for joy, even if they don't name it.
Okay. So happiness is something you have a right to chase, but joy is more about the conditions that allow it to bubble up.
Exactly. And here's a quote that really highlights the difference. To pursue happiness is a civic right, but to cultivate joy, it's a moral call.
A moral call.
Yeah. True societies don't merely guard freedoms, they awaken hearts.
Awaken hearts. That goes way beyond just protecting rights, doesn't it? It suggests an active role for society in fostering something deeper.
It really does. It implies a responsibility not just to permit happiness, but to actively cultivate the conditions for joy. It's a profound shift in perspective.
So we've got the science, the sort of civic or philosophical angle. Now let's talk about those wings again, the joy part. Our sources mentioned the Baha'i faith. What insights do they offer?
Well, there's this incredibly evocative quote from Abdu'l-Bahá, who was a central figure in the faith. He said, "Joy gives us wings."
Simple but powerful. Wings for what, though?
Wings to lift us, essentially. The sources explain that from this perspective, spiritual happiness isn't just a fleeting good mood. It becomes a sign of alignment with purpose, virtue, and unity. It's deeper. They contrast it with material happiness, which, fades. But the spiritual happiness, this joy, it fuels the eternal motion of the soul.
Okay, so it's linked to purpose, to unity, but does it do anything practical? Or is it just an internal feeling?
Oh, it's presented as highly practical. The sources state, joy lifts intellect, refines perception, and enlarges usefulness.
Usefulness, how so?
By making us perhaps more insightful, more creative, more capable of contributing positively. It continues, it is not entertainment, it is enlightenment.
Wow. Okay, so joy isn't just the result of living well. It's actually an engine that helps us think better, perceive more clearly, be more useful, enlightened.
That seems to be the core idea, yes. It's an active force that enhances our capabilities, both intellectual and, you'd say, spiritual or moral. It propels growth.
Right, that completely reframes joy. Not just a byproduct, but a catalyst. Okay, so we've seen how happiness is like the soil, nurtured in childhood, protected by rights, and how joy is like these wings connected to purpose, lifting our intellect. How do these two things, working within individuals, actually scale up to build or shape entire civilizations?
The connection is made very directly in the sources. Flourishing individuals build flourishing societies. It sounds simple, but it's profound. Think of it as civilizational scaffolding. Healthy, resilient, purposeful individuals are the beams and supports that hold up a strong society.
And are there specific examples of how this plays out?
Yes, the sources talk about how that emotional constancy in childhood echoes into public health, education, and global governance. Imagine the downstream effects. Better mental and physical health outcomes, maybe more collaborative approaches in education, perhaps even more empathetic and stable international relations. It ripples outward.
It's hard to argue with that logic. Healthier individuals, healthier society.
And they offer this really powerful hypothetical question. What if every child were raised with the constancy of love and the consistency of care?
Yeah.
Then peace would no longer be a distant hope. It would be a natural evolution.
A natural evolution.
Yeah.
Just from consistent kindness in childhood, scaled up.
Yeah.
That's quite something to consider. It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Huh.
Every act of kindness, every effort to cultivate joy, maybe isn't just personal. Maybe it's, well, civilization building, adding to that soil, strengthening those wings. What an incredible journey we've been on in this deep dive. We started with, how babies are wired, moved through societal rights and philosophies, and landed on joy as this spiritual engine.
And that central metaphor holds it all together, I think. Let joy be the wind, let happiness be the soil, and let humanity winged with purpose and rooted in love rise into its noblest form. Quite poetic, but also feels very grounded in everything we've discussed.
It really does. So here's something for you, our listener, to think about after this. Based on everything we've unpacked, how might your own focus on happiness, on cultivating joy for yourself, yes, but also for others around you? How might that be more than just personal improvement? Could it actually be contributing in some small way to this larger evolution of peace, of human flourishing on a global scale? What tiny act of kindness leading towards joy could you maybe try today? Something to mull over.